I am sure sports. You know me there, I'm coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy, 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 boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me no know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the date, don't you want to love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Yes, greetings and welcome to I Am Sure Sports. I'm your host, Man is Man, and we have another good one lined up for you today. Yes, it's going to be a really good show that we have in store for you today. We'll be doing an interview with Mr. Michael Davy. And you're going to say, but I don't know that name. I don't know that person, especially if you're one of the younger generation. But don't worry, we are going to get into it, and you're going to get to know him on this interview. I promise you that it is going to be good. It's going to be worth your time and worth your effort. So um, get yourself ready. This is going to be a good one. You may not know the name, but like I said, by the time we get to the end of this video, you're going to be saying, oh, oh, okay, okay, okay. But firstly, let us say a big thank you to our sponsors, the sponsors of this video. Prestige Finance, lending a helping hand when you need it most. You can call them at 876-884-7390. They are located in Linstead, St. Catherine, Jamaica, and they are offering loans up to 100,000 Jamaican dollars to help you with all your small business ideas, with motor vehicle insurance. They will also help you with starting off your small business. So visit them. In fact, when you go there, tell them you heard about them on I Am Sure Sports, and here's what will happen. That loan will be processed in the same day at 0 to 4% interest rate. Look at that. That is awesome. No hassle. So just let them know that you heard about them on I Am Sure Sports. Also want to big up Launch Legacy who are on board with I Am Sure Sports. And as you know, we're having a webinar hosted by Launch Legacy in February. We had to shift the date. It should have been tomorrow, but as you know, Jamaica go up against Mexico, and we wouldn't want to have that because we want all persons involved in sports and just people in general to be a part of this webinar. Yes, so Launch Legacy is on board. Launch Legacy. Handle risk, seek legacy. So for all your personal insurance needs in Canada and the USA, visit launchlegacy.com or call or text 647-989-0782. Someone is there on the other side of the line to help you right now. So just give them a call. Also, you tell them, listen, I heard about your company on I Am Sure Sports, and guess what? Things will work out in your favor. Yes, that's what we're doing stuff. So please, please, um, yeah, get on board. Secure your financial legacy. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Want to also big up all the persons in the comment section, right? Thank you for coming on. Remember, once you come on, we ask you to hit the like button. And also, if you have not, you can subscribe to the platform. As you know, I always encourage you that there are so many Jamaicans who are doing this kind of a work, and uh, it's good that you have listening preferences, but as many of the vloggers out there providing sports content that you can support, go ahead and support them, even by subscribing to their platform. It doesn't hurt if all of us grow. It's a space where everyone can grow, and then people get the choice to listen who they believe they want to listen at a particular time. So don't just subscribe to I Am Sure Sports, but give support to as many of the other platforms as possible. All right. So thank you. Just want you to know, for those of you who are you follow the JPL, that Paul Teagat Davis is fine. You have not seen him on the bench at Arnett Gardens, but he is still the head coach there, and so you will be seeing him in short order, um, giving out instructions on the Arnett Gardens bench. We're also having a show at 8:30 this evening, and on that show we're going to have a player from Mexico, not someone, a Mexican footballer. Let me put it that way, a Mexican footballer. He doesn't represent the national team, but he's going to be on the show speaking about possible starting 11 for Mexico and how they will line up. And then Gregory Messam and a few of our former players will also be on, just talking about the game that we have tomorrow at the National Stadium against Mexico. So yeah, that's what's going on. How you doing? Welcome, Paul Marriott. Shalom, peace to you. Nothing missing, nothing lacking, my friend. Duckland Stennett, namesake, blessings to you. Carlton Cloggy Alexander, blessings to you. Grace and peace be multiplied to you. Lulu, Lulu in the building. Claudia, the female in the house, who offers wisdom in a very modern, contemporary way. Also, Ricardo Baggio, the first to hit the deck. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Uh, right? Also, want to remind you of Garfield Ratty Robinson's book. It's called Dare to Ask. 35 questions from scriptures that still matter today. The transferable principles can work in any era of your life. So just check it out. It's on Amazon. Listen, I tell you what I like about American culture to a great extent, right? Um, a great extent. Here's what happened, right? The 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 American community, and you saw a lot of this in the former president, where it was this great push to support American product, American business owners. I think That's something we need to take on to as Jamaicans to support our own a whole lot more. And here it is that a former footballer educated himself and he has written a book, right? And he's not old, he's still a young man. And I think it would be good for, those of us in the sport who like reading to challenge ourselves into reading some more by purchasing a copy of his book. Listen, I'm doing it because I love the book. I've been going through it and it's really fascinating how he brings the ancient truths into a modern setting. Clays and Mirage, big up, big up, big up. Listen, I was caught between two things, right? Persons wanted me to be here on the platform, others wanted me to be at the Manning's game. And so they had one other person who really wanted to go. So I I gave them the pass basically and said use the space for management to get there, and they did that. But I enjoyed the company that I had here on the platform discussing the sport. But come this season, you're going to see me a whole lot more involved in the managed program while I'm still here. I'm going to, you know, as much as is allowed, yeah, be more involved in it. Yes. Just had my guess. He looked like he got disconnected. So let's see if we can get him back on. Any of you know um Michael Davy. If you know Richard Davy, you probably know him. So listen to this story. You're gonna hear some fascinating truths, and we're gonna give away a phone card, a $500 phone card to your service provider. That's either Digicel or Flow. At some point during the interview, um, if I remember. So please make sure that you listen keenly to what is being said. Uh, yeah. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you, but you have the video playing in the background, so you can't be playing the video and talking at the same time because we're getting a feedback. Are you there? All right. Seems like we have lost some the connection. Let's see if we can get that sorted out. Oh, Clayton Mirage. Oh, so that means you know our guest, right, Clayton? So if you played at Howard University, then you would know our guest very well. We're having some connection issues, so let's see if we can get those issues sorted out and get back on to the platform. All right. Um, let's see. Something seemed to be wrong on that side, so let's see if we can get it sorted out. Yeah, so let's see if we can get that sorted out. So Clayton didn't know. Yes. Whoa. Oh. Haha. The man from Howard University. Awesome. So you know Mr. Michael Davy. Yes, 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 yes. What position did you play at Howard University? Clayton. I'll try and get him back on there. It's going to happen, people. This is going to be uh, a really, really good one. We have also made some major contacts. So in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be having some very, very interesting characters on the program sharing their story. I know you're going to be having fun with some of the guests that we're going to bring on. Um, yes, you're going to be excited. Oh, cool. So you're a midfielder. There you go. One more from Howard University. Yes. All right. All right. So there you go. All right. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. And we are hearing you clearly. The visual is okay as well.
Okay.
So once you set up, we can begin.
Okay.
All right. Well, Mr. Davy, Michael Davy, it is welcome to I Am Sure Sports. It's indeed a great pleasure to have you on to share your story with us. Just want you to know for support that there is a a a a, a former Howard University student also in the chat. His name is Clayton Mirage. So I suspect that if you ever feel intimidated or shy about anything or not remembering any facts, then Clayton will be here to support you and to share with you whatever information. But thank you again for joining. And I don't want to delay any further, but what I want you to do is to help the people to know you a little bit and share with us your roots in Jamaica. Where did it all start for you in terms of playing football, to your time in high school, into the leagues in Jamaica, and how you ended up at Howard University?
Okay, Omar. First, let me thank you and your team for this production, which will allow information, stories about Jamaicans who have come from very humble beginnings or otherwise, and who have worked enormously to achieve a tremendous amount in sports, a tremendous amount in academics, in their profession career, and then have also stretched back into the very same communities from which they come. The more stories like these are produced by you and other social media companies, the better it is that young Jamaicans coming up can listen and hear positive, progressive, motivational, inspiring information, which will lead them to think about and listen to even more productions like these and not think about criminality or violence or worse, murder. So I really appreciate this production and what your team is doing. And I appreciate you allowing me to tell my story. So, very quickly, my story began. My dad was an orphan raised by the Roman Catholic nuns and priests at Alpha Boys School. Um, because he worked at Alpha, he enrolled us in Alpha Infant and Alpha Primary. Alpha Primary has an outstanding list of former students who dominated high school football and who also went on to represent the national team. You know, more than a dozen in my vintage. And without giving any names, we also produced a former prime minister. We also produced a former Miss Jamaica
You have to
and a
give us
former Miss
sorry.
Festival.
Well, you know that I would have to ask you to give us at least give us some names.
Okay, I don't like to drop names, but here goes. So Alpha Primary. This is like 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. Um, at the top of the list, of course, is Alan Skillcole. You know, started out at Alpha. Um, Rudolph Pierce, Donald Billy Perkins, Norman Gutter Thompson, may his soul rest in peace. Kenneth Bob Campbell, Errol E.B. Barrett, Lloyd Macam Walker, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some. Lennox Robinson, Now, Patrick Kirkwood was on the 1964-65 all-conquering Kingston College team. We also produced track and field stars. I don't know if you're aware of Trevor Campbell, Trevor T.C. Campbell,
Yes.
the former Alpha Primary. So in our schoolyard growing up, Omar, we were very competitive, challenged by future national representatives, you know. And there were some famous footballing families that also went to Alpha because I've got two younger brothers that also represented the national team.
Yes.
We had the Pierce brothers,
You
Fabian.
have, sorry, you say you have two younger brothers who represented the national team.
Yes.
You have to give us the names, because I'm telling you that there are many young persons here who don't
Yeah.
know. So go
Yeah.
ahead.
So Richard Davy represented Wolmer's Cavalier and the Jamaica national team. Kenneth Davy represented Excelsior, Pembroke Hall, and also the national team. Kenneth Davy once scored 4 goals in a major league game, Pembroke Hall versus Great West, which was the Premier League. So,
Okay.
go ahead.
No, I just said okay.
Yeah. So growing up with that type of competition, schoolyard before classes start, lunchtime, after class, it's your soccer. And then I passed common entrance. I went to St. George's College. I played a lot of soccer while at St. George's, but did not represent St. George's in the Manning Cup simply because I went too far ahead with my academics and graduated from St. George's at the tender age of 15. I was the second youngest in my graduating class. There was a youngster even younger than I was. So graduated at 15, and being the third of 11 children, I had to leave school early after first year 6. I had to leave school and go work so I could contribute to the household financial budget. Being the third of 11 kids. So at 15, not in school, working at Government Savings Bank, I went and joined Real Mona Football Club and made their Division 2 team in 1967. In 1968, I moved on to a more localized, closer to where I lived in the Waltham Gardens area. I played for the Mullines Football Club, Division 2, and we actually finished up second and should have been promoted along with JDF, but there was some paperwork snafu. The manager of our team was alleged to have not turned in some game cards, and instead of being promoted to Division 1, JDF and UWI got promoted. That was 1968. So 1969, playing minor league for Swallowfield on the Stadium Westfield, Leighton Duncan, the Cavalier founder, creator, director. Leighton Duncan would drive by and he would stop and watch. And after one practice, he said, when the minor league is completed, come over to Cavaliers and join. So went to Cavaliers in 1969 at 17 and made the Division 1 team, which is Premier League. So played for Cavalier 1969 at 17, 1970 at 18, and then 1971 at 19. 69 and 70, I could still have been playing Manning Cup, based on my age eligibility. So that's it for Jamaica. Scored a couple goals for Cavalier, even playing at the defense. I might add that one season, I was teamed in the back four with Altamont McCoy, Delroy Motti Scott, Jamaican national captain at the time, and Calvin Weber Stewart, formerly of KC. So that back four set a Premier League record of 9 consecutive games without conceding a goal.
Okay. And that was in the Premier League in Jamaica at that time?
Yes, that
was Division 1.
Division 1. The top 8 teams And the soccer was very centralized in those days. The 8 top teams were from Kingston and surrounding areas. It was
Oh,
only in after 70, in the mid 70s, and spurred on by Leighton Duncan and a lot of the parishes clamoring and agitating. Um, Youngsters who played in the Manning Cup and then went to live in Mandeville and went to live in Cornwall started activating and grumbling, and in a good sense that you know all the national team representatives need not come from just Kingston, you know.
yeah.
So
Okay, so that was in the so now you're playing uh at 18, finishing up playing Premier League.
yes,
All right. And then so at what point did you leave Jamaica now? And how
okay,
did you end up
at
not, I
Howard,
mean, yeah, because this is now almost 3 years after leaving George's at lower six, didn't go to upper six,
right?
having to work and playing football. How did you end up at Howard University? And tell us about that journey at Howard.
Okay, so yeah, so migrated from Jamaica in 1971, was in New York, and Richard, my younger brother, received a scholarship from Howard. And after his freshman year, he said, Michael, you're better than all the defenders here at Howard. Come and try out next season. So 1972-73, went to the first Howard University practice. And, 2 minutes into the practice, the coach started yelling for me to come and talk to him. And I thought that he was going to tell me to stop playing because I was, probably a little too rough on his top forwards. Instead, he was gushing over my defensive capabilities. He was asking, which school are you attending? I said, I'm not attending any college or university, but I would like to attend Howard. He said, okay, go back on. And 3 minutes later, I made another tackle and he called me off again. And I said, for sure he's going to throw me out of his practice. Instead, he said, what about your academics? Do you need to take the equivalency? I said, Coach, I have 5 passes in the GCO level, math, ordinary math, advanced additional math, physics, chemistry, and English language. And I had
All
also,
of this you had done at St. George's
I did
at
at
age
St. George
15.
at 15 in 1967.
Okay.
1967. So he said, when the practice is finished, come to my office. And Omar, the practice finished about 8 o'clock. I was in his office filling out application forms until almost midnight. He offered me a full scholarship, and I started the very first game of my first season, and I was the only player to start every single game and play every single minute of every game throughout their Howard career. Even the captains were subbed out or sometimes didn't start.
So let me say that in that season, you played every single game, every single minute of every single game in
Yes,
your first season.
yes,
Wow.
as a freshman,
As a
and
freshman.
throughout my career, throughout my entire career.
Never missed a game or never got substituted.
No, I missed a game through injury.
Okay.
I missed, and I'll get into that. So the first season we were on probation. The second season we were training the summer of 74, and there was a plan for the team to go on a tour of Nigeria so that the coach could recruit some Nigerians. And we went through all the steps. We got, inoculated. We got all kinds of vaccines to protect us from traveling to Africa. But in the final analysis, only the coach went to Nigeria, and he brought back 5 top players from the Nigerian national team. So in 1974, the Howard University team was filled with national representatives all the way up to number 18. In fact, throughout my career, most of the players on the bench were national team representatives from their various nations.
All right, so let me get this now. So your brother actually got to Richard actually got to Howard before you, and
Yes,
he's the one who invited you over there. Is he your older brother or younger brother?
he's younger.
Oh, so he's younger.
Yeah,
But he got to Howard. He left from Wolmer's and he got into Howard University.
yes.
Okay, all right. So now you go there, you make the team. I know you guys you created history, I think, in that time by going 19-0-0, meaning you didn't lose a game, you didn't draw a game, you had 19 victory. Was that in your first season?
No, my first season, the team was on probation.
Okay.
So we were not eligible for the playoffs. We just did a regular season, and that was it. So we came back with a vengeance in 1974 because the team had won, the Howard had won the championship in 1971, and the first all-black school university to win a major Division I NCAA, National Collegiate Athletic Association, the first black college to win an NCAA Division I tournament championship. And so it attracted the types of investigations that, some call it racially motivated. Others say that it was just pure jealousy. But there was an investigation, and the end result was they vacated the 1971 title and put us on probation for 1973. So when we became eligible in 1974, we wanted to prove that we deserved that title. So we had that motivation in addition to the motivation of everybody wants to start. So it only made everybody better. Everybody from Jamaica, and we had 7 Jamaicans in 1974. We had 5 Nigerians.
Hold on, give me do you remember the names of the 7 Jamaicans?
Yes, I can give you the names. So you had Richard, my younger brother from Wolmer's. Keith Tulloh was the captain of the Wolmer's team that took the Triple Crown in 1971. Mario McLennan was captain of Kingston College in 1971. Bertram Beckett was captain of Excelsior in 1971. And then you had myself. So that's what 5?
Yeah.
4? Yeah. So then you have Paul Pringle. Now, when we went in 73, we decided to we told the coach about Paul Pringle. And let me just add, sometimes you hear a youngster say, oh, this guy got a scholarship for me, or Mike Davy got a scholarship. Nobody actually gets a scholarship for anybody. All a person can do is facilitate somebody coming to practice, exhibiting their skills. And if the skills are attractive or appealing enough to the coach, then the coach gives the scholarship. Yeah. So we invited Paul Pringle. Paul Pringle came. He showed his skills, and Lincoln Phillips signed him up to a scholarship. And then the summer before that, this is the summer of 1974. The summer of 1973, Lincoln Phillips had gone to England. And so it's not only the Jamaica reggae boys that go to England for reinforcement. Lincoln Phillips went to England and he brought over Lincoln Petty, who was born in Jamaica, but left Jamaica when he was 5 years old and grew up in England. And so that's Richard Davy, Keith Tulloh, Bertram Beckett, Mario McLennan, Paul Pringle, Lincoln Petty, and myself, Michael Davy.
Okay. Paul Pringle. Pringle is from which team did he play for in Jamaica?
Paul Pringle played for Wolmer's.
Okay.
And he had an older brother, Gart, that played for Wolmer's before him, and a younger brother, Peter. And so when Peter became of age, we told the coach that Paul has a younger brother that's a good player. Peter came, showed his skills, and the coach gave him a scholarship. This is like 77, 78. Also, I told the coach about my other younger brother, Kenneth from Excelsior, and he came and the coach also gave him a scholarship. But back to the 1974. So 1974, we had tremendous motivation, Omar. Tremendous motivation to not only be the best in general, but also to you know to right a wrong or to restore a trophy or a robbery that was perpetrated on us. So we had those extra motivation in addition to our skills. And so the team was prepared very diligently, a lot of mental toughness type training. For example, Lincoln Phillips, our coach, was in the military in Trinidad. So he brought that regimented, highly structured military style to our practices. We would line up horizontally and vertically, arms length, 2 arms length apart. And as we go around the field, if there were any gaps that was too close or too wide, we had to repeat the exercise. In the summer, Lincoln Phillips would have us wear several layers of clothing so that heat would not be a difficulty for us. As it got cooler and colder, because the collegiate season starts in September when it's still warm in Washington, D.C., but it goes all the way into December. And so in order to combat the impending cold weather, when it got cold, we only wore one single short sleeve t-shirt so that our mind was not about, it's too cold or what have you. We could overcome that.
Yeah.
So we did our preparation. And remember, in those days, there wasn't any personal computers, there wasn't internet. So it was very difficult for competing teams to get information or game film on each other. So a lot of the teams that faced us, they didn't know what we had, the powerhouse team that we had. So we started just beating up teams 6-4, 5-6, 7 goals. In those 19 games, we scored, I think, 63 goals and we only gave up 6.
Okay,
So
that's
we were
19. That's in 1900 season.
the 1900 season.
How major was that at that time? Had it been done before? Was this the first time?
Okay, so the undefeated untied 1900, that number 19 was never achieved before, but teams had gone 16-0-0 or 14-0-0. I think there were 3 undefeated untied teams before 1974, but they didn't play as many as 19 games.
Okay.
So
Hold
when
on, a couple of things I want to do because we're at the 38 minutes. I don't want to, because there are comments coming in and I don't want we get too far in the comments and miss them.
okay.
Owen says, truth crushed to earth shall rise again. Do you know what that means? That has anything,
Yes.
that has anything to do.
That's our coach, Lincoln Phillips, brought in a mentor, Sir Dom Basil Matthew, who was a religion professor. He was a religion professor and former president of the Trinidad Football Association, but he was now a lecturer, a professor at Howard. He would come in the dressing room. Before each game, and this was a sort of credo or motto that he preached to us. Truth, crushed to earth back in 1971, shall rise again in 1974.
Okay.
So we repeated that in the dressing room before going out on the field.
Okay. All right. Eagle Republic says, another big interview management. Keep reminding the younger players about whose shoulder they now stand on. All right. And then someone here, Clinton Maraj, who is a Howard man as well, said, what about Bancroft? I think he's asking if Bancroft was
okay. So
during this time.
Yeah. So So we were 72, 73. We graduated 76, 77. And each year we would go to the coach and say, Coach, there's a youngster, he's playing in Jamaica, he's dominating the high schools. We're gonna bring him up and you take a look at him. And so one of those players was Bancroft Gordon. He was at Excelsior. And he had attended Excelsior with my younger brother, Kenneth. So Kenneth kept telling us about Bancroft. We went to Coach Phillips and said, Coach, we're going to bring up a player, take a look at him, hopefully you like him. So we meaning myself and Kenneth, we sent for Bancroft. He came and was in our apartment, right? Living in our apartment, went to the first practice. And of course, the first practice, the coach was very impressed and offered him a full scholarship on the spot.
All right.
But Bancroft came in like 1977, 1978.
Yeah, you have shifted away, so I mean you need to bring back the phone.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there we go. Right, so we can see it. There we go. All right, so this is Howard. Yeah, that 19-0. You guys want anything? You want everything. Did you receive any awards as a player? In a time at Howard, individual.
Yes, yes,
achievements.
yes. At the 1974 championships, I actually received the most valuable defensive player, but for some reason there wasn't a formal presentation. Let me tell you about that final game. So the final game, you play the regular season, you reach the final four, you reach the playoffs, and you get grouped with teams in your region. You win your region, there are four regions, and the four region winners go to a final four. So the final four was Howard, St. Louis, Hartwick, and UCLA. St. Louis University was going for their third straight championship. The championship was in Bush Stadium in St. Louis, in their backyard. So that the Friday was the semifinal, Sunday was the finals. For about okay, so all night Saturday, all day Saturday, all night Saturday, it snowed. And so for 4 hours before the start of the championship game in 1974, there were steamer machines on the field, melting the snow, and then some huge squeegee machines squeeze the melted snow, the water off to the sides, and it immediately refroze. And if you look at some of the game film, you'll see about a 2 feet rim of snow all the way around the field. And that game went to 4 overtimes, and 19 seconds into the fourth overtime, we won. And there's normally a formal presentation ceremony. I don't know if because a predominantly black university won, I don't know, but whatever it was, there wasn't an official ceremony. We were just given a box of trophies, including the MVP defensive, MVP offensive, and of course the our individual plaque and also the team trophy.
Because you upset the white team.
Yeah, not only that, they were going for 3 straight. And guess what? They were the team that Howard defeated in 1971. And the NCAA, the ruling body, they vacated the trophy, but they did not award it to St. Louis because the St. Louis coach, bless his heart, he said, listen, I win my championships on the field. I don't want a courtroom or lawyers to tell me that I won. So he refused to accept the trophy. But yeah, and Omar, there are photos, I'll send you the video. There are photos at the beginning of the game. The St. Louis players are lined up facing, the American flag. And of course, the predominantly foreign, although we had 2 US players, the predominantly foreign players were facing away. And after the end of the game, the scoreboard had a very derogatory statement. I don't know what the meaning of it is, but when you view the video, you will see it. Something
Okay.
about monkeys or apes
Okay.
on the
Okay. Wow.
scoreboard.
With
So
some strong racism. I can tell you that.
yes, yeah.
Especially out in the south there, you're playing against St. Louis.
Oh
Um.
my good. Yeah. Hey, gateway to the west, right? Hey,
Yeah.
hey. So Omar, um, the national team coach for the United States at the time was a fabulous coach named Detmar Kramer, German,
Yes.
and in the elevator after the championship game, he was in the elevator with us heading to the hotel at the hotel. And we said, Coach Kramer, what did you think of our performance? And he said in his halting English, not so good 90 minutes, excellent overtime.
Yeah.
In his
Um.
halting English.
Yeah. Someone is asking, have you ever played with goalkeeper Gilbert? I think this is Gigi McPherson.
Gilbert McPherson, Gigi. Yeah. No, no, there's also a dynamic, Omar, in that the Jamaicans on college team in the Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, at the end of the college season, the Jamaicans would come together and form a formidable team called the Jamaica Nationals, or more popular, the Jamaica Nats.
Oh,
And
that's
so,
that's when that started. Oh, from in the 70s. Yes.
yes, yes.
Oh.
And I must mention Dr. Kenneth Tony Keys as one of the driving forces in
Oh.
bringing all of those guys together.
It's important to hear about the genesis of the Jamaica.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah.
Ah.
Hey, have you ever heard that name, Dr. Kenneth Tony Keys?
Yeah.
The
Tony. Yeah.
captain. He's the captain of the first
He was at
high
Kingston College.
captain of the first high school team to win the triple crown in the
Right.
corporate area.
Remember, you captain the team with Neville Oxford.
Neville Oxford, Jumpy
Yeah.
Harris,
Oh.
Noel Miller,
Yes.
Patrick Kirkwood, Lloyd McLean,
Yes, Lloyd McLean. Right.
Mousebone, Mickey Mousebone Vernon.
Okay, so that's where the Jamaica
So
nuts.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
the
genesis. Interesting,
Jamaicans at
sir.
Howard. We had Peter Hamilton had a scholarship at University of Maryland, about 30 miles from Howard. Peter Hamilton was on the All-Man team 1967 from Excelsior, right? Frederick Sutherland was a standout at Calabar. He was playing in Baltimore. And some guys were in Virginia, but we had a tremendous team. Now, Gigi McPherson, I didn't play with him. He came and he was at Howard and also played for Nats, goalkeeper for Nats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So now, it was while you were at Howard that you played for the Jamaica Juveniles in a
No,
tournament. Oh,
no. I played for the Jamaica Juveniles in 1970 when I was 18, but still in Jamaica.
okay. That's before you went to Howard.
Before I left Jamaica, yeah, before I went to Howard.
All right. So can you tell us about that tournament, because it was the first time Jamaica was winning a tournament at the youth? Well, not winning, but the
The
highest
Grand
grade.
win a trophy. Yeah.
Yeah, winning a trophy the
Yeah.
first time in any
In,
footballing
in,
tournament.
in any age group regional tournament. Yeah. So George Thompson, who had coached the KC 64-65 team and had moved up to coach the national team. George Thompson was our coach / technical director. Loxley Comrie was the president of CASAFA. May his soul rest in peace. George Prescott was the manager, and George Abrams was the president of JFF. May all their souls rest in peace. So we went to Havana, Cuba. Castro sent one of his propeller planes for us. So we didn't take a jet. And
Okay.
so Castro sent one of his propeller planes. And there were 4 famous footballing families represented on that team. You had Neville Bell, the current Manning Cup coach for St. George's, right? And
He was
he
on
had
that team.
Winthrop Jackie Bell was a national representative. Yeah, go ahead.
Neville Bell was on that team that went to Cuba.
Yes, look at the picture I sent you, Omar. Neville Bell was on that team.
Oh, I didn't know that. All
Neville
right.
Bell was our midfielder. Neville Bell was our midfielder.
All
Hey,
right.
he was bespectacled. He played with the glasses in those days.
Oh, really?
Yes,
He
the
played.
bespe-
Neville Bell played football.
the bespectacled Neville Bell went on tour with the Jamaica national under 20 team to Havana, Cuba. He also went on tour in 1971 to Trinidad with another national under 20 team. Neville Bell, coach at St. George's. No, Neville was not gifted with a whole lot of blinding speed, but he was very smart enough to use the opposing player's speed against them. So the players would run by, but the players would run by him.
Hold on. I think we had a break in transmission.
Okay.
So I think we had a little break. So you said that Neville Bell. Let me go back to what we last heard. Neville
Yeah.
Bell, you said played in glasses.
Yes.
I think that's the last. So
Yes.
okay.
Yes. I apologize if you didn't want that sneaking out.
Okay, so he wasn't. Who are some of the other players on that team that went to Havana?
Okay, we had Alvin McLean, whose father and uncle, Bonnie and Clovis, had played for Jamaica in the 40s. And Alvin's brother Lloyd was the chief midfield general for the KC 64-65 team.
Okay.
We also had Carl Largy, who was on the Wolmer's Triple Crown team in 71. And he has uncles David Santos, Jamaica national team, Henry, YMCA, Jamaica national team in the early 60s, late 50s. And his father, the original Carl Digger Largy, was the captain of the Jamaica national team, captain of St. George's Manning Cup team, and captain of St. George's Old Boys team in the 50s, 40s, 50s. So that team had a lot of legacy.
Right. So the team finished. You finished third. You finished third in the competition.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And that was the only youth tournament that you represented Jamaica in.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. All right. So no, I mean, how did you do at Harvard? Sorry, Howard, in terms of because you're playing football, but how about your educational,
the academics?
Yeah, the academic side,
Okay.
because sometimes it can be so imbalanced.
Yes.
You do well in sport, poorly in academics.
Yes. Yeah.
Let me get a couple of comments in though before you answer. Somebody says,
Alvin McLean was my kid. Yeah, Bert is only player. He has a sharp mind.
Yeah, that's you he's referring to, not me, because my mind is not sharp. Bert is only playing the youth football for Jamaica.
Yeah.
And then this person is asking for us to get an interview with him.
With Neville.
With Neville. And then I see big up other people who represent Georgia Avenue, Washington, D.C.
Big up Georgia Avenue, Washington, D.C. No respect, Georgia Avenue.
Okay, so you that's where you are?
I'm in Texas now, but
okay.
I lived on Euclid Street.
Okay, because this is a Calabar Pass student here. Maybe he knows you. I don't know.
What's his name?
Trust me, don't use that name there. He's far from having his brain drained, but that's what he goes by. So
Okay. In the classroom. So here's a dynamic. Here are two dynamics. So practice for the Howard University varsity soccer team was Monday through Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Okay. We didn't practice Friday because usually there's a game Saturday. Now, from 6 to 8, we are practicing hard. So when we are finished at 8 o'clock, we have, so from 8 to 12, 1, maybe 2 o'clock, say we go to bed so we can be refreshed for class the next day. So you have that window from 8 to 2 a.m. in the morning. However, Omar, bear with me. At 8 o'clock, you're just leaving the field. You have to shower, take care of your personal hygiene. You have to eat, and then you have to study. Now, the hours are there, but the energy has been used up a lot, at least the physical energy has been used up a lot during practice. So physically, we're tired and we have to study with that amount of hours. So tremendously difficult. In addition to that, during the season, you play a game. Sometimes we have a tournament. We leave Wednesday. We come back Sunday. We miss all those classes, and we have to go to the instructor. I learned very early. You go to the instructor before you're going to miss class, and get the work that you're going to miss, and stay abreast of the class or ahead of the class. In addition, after you win a tournament, you're happy, elated, you're celebrating, but you have classes on Monday. So you have to temper that celebration and sort of come down off of that emotional high to plant your foot under the table and read and study your book. So there's that dynamic. Okay. The other dynamic is I elected to major in engineering. And when I went that first day, and all of the athletes at our, they get to register first so they can get their classes, because we need to have a minimum number of credits to maintain our eligibility. So the university didn't want the average at-large student gobbling up the classes, and we don't have enough classes to meet the NCAA playing requirements, eligibility requirements. So the athletes were allowed to go first and pull their class cards, get registered. When the track and field guys and some of the other guys saw me picking up these engineering class cards, they said, Davy, are you crazy? People are looking to get out and transfer from engineering, and you're looking to get in? Are you crazy? And another dynamic, Omar, is the engineering school classes are, Howard is on a hill. The newspaper is called Hilltop. So the stadium, athletic department, history, liberal arts is on a hill. Architecture and science is down the bottom of the hill. So there was a saying, many have gone down and few have come back up. So I decided my engineering, and after my freshman year, my grade point average was computed at 3.83. And this attracted a letter. I received a letter from the chairman of the honors program to join the honors program, which is to give more rigorous, more competitive, more challenges to students who exhibit the potential for more challenges. So in addition to my engineering classes, I joined the honors program and had to take 2 or 3 courses each semester just to satisfy the honors program requirements. And for several semesters, mostly in the spring, I earned a high enough grade point average to make the dean's honor roll. In the fall, there's a minimum number of courses you need to be taken to make the dean's honors list. And in the fall, I had to kind of scale back down. I couldn't go below 12 or else I wouldn't be eligible. So I had to scale back to like 14 or so, and I wasn't eligible for the dean's honors list. But I would pile it on and pack it up in the spring semester and make the dean's honor roll. So I got my bachelor's in engineering, from Howard University, studying while playing soccer. When we had away games, and because Howard was so strong, most teams did not want to travel to Howard to play on our turf. Some of the Howard guys who are calling and they'll tell you about our turf in those days. Wasn't very attractive. So a lot of our games were away games. And when the bus that drove us to these away games, while we were driving at night, there would be 2 lights on in the bus. And the 2 lights were, one was for me, the other one was for Sam Aqua. His major was chemical engineering. the two engineering majors were the only guys who had to be studying on the bus.
Graduated with your bachelor's there. I mean, um, uh, what do you say to that youngster in Jamaica who is watching now, who wants to do sport and pursue also educational studies? It must be very difficult, like even picking, like someone had just said, doing football and an engineering major sounds very tough. What are some of the things that you think enabled you to do so well on the football field and so well in the classroom, graduating with honors?
Now, here's what I would say to the youngster. Here's my situation. Like at St. George's, I can you hear me? Can you hear me, Omar? Hello? Hello, Omar? I see myself, but I've lost you on video and I'm not hearing you, so I've lost you on audio. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I had lost your video and audio. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, we're hearing you. We're hearing you. Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I would say to youngster. So I was lucky to pass. I took common entrance, that scholarship, and passed scholarship for St. George's College. Now, St. George's had some tremendously outstanding, brilliant teachers, and they had very caring teachers. I had outstanding math teachers. Yeah, we are outstanding math teachers. And so I very early I developed an affinity or a liking for mathematics. And that's needed for physics. And so I developed that affinity for physics. And Father O'Toole in chemistry, I just fell in love with that guy. And so early on, math, physics, chemistry, I just had an affinity for. And when I went to Howard, I said, now what can I major in after 4 years would be most marketable? And I say engineering would be most marketable. So going back to a youngster in Jamaica, get involved in all your courses, consult with your teachers, talk to your teachers outside of classroom, outside of class, outside of studying. Spend a lot of time with your professor. Tell them what you're thinking about. And you may be as a youngster, you may be thinking about, I don't know what I want to be. And that's fine when you're young. And the professor or the teacher might say, little Tom, I see you're very strong in all your subjects. So just keep on working hard. And if something sort of jumps out above the others, then try to see if you would like that or you would cling to that. And also talk to, so a lot of these teachers, Omar, they will have been probably in school with folks who are in corporations. Like, for example, Don Webby was a hurdle champion. You know, Don Webby,
Yes.
the director of Grace Kennedy,
Yes.
CEO. He went to St. George's.
Yeah.
He ran the hurdles, right? And studied hard. And so that's somebody that a youngster in Jamaica can say, hey, I heard from Mike Davy, and what he says is true. Look at Don Webby. Don Webby went to George's. He didn't know he was going to be the CEO of Grace Kennedy. He just wanted to be the best hurdler possible, and he wanted to be the best in class. And his teachers probably guided him to maintain interest for as long as he has in maybe all of his subjects. Some kids in Jamaica now, they're getting ones in 15 subjects, So unless they have a specific love for something, it's very difficult for them. They shouldn't feel pressured to make a decision too young, because what they don't want to do, they don't want to lock themselves into a career, and after 3-4 years they said, you know what, I really don't like this.
All right.
So they need to pursue all their likes, all their love, talk to their professors, right? Try to ask their professors, um, Mr. Rupley, should I become an engineer? Should I become an accountant? Should I become a doctor? They say, hey, your biology grades are way higher than the others, so you want to consider becoming a doctor or the medical field. Um, do you like administering to kids? You may want to be a pediatrician, So different things, different elements as you're growing up, the youngster needs to look at different things for as long as he possibly can until he develops a burning emotional desire for that one thing, and then he moves forward with it.
All right. Let me
But
just take some fun stuff here. Wayne Harris says, Howard, sorry, have a much better stadium now than, than Paul Weatherly says. Dirty Harry, you forget that we called the field a dust bowl before we got the AstroTurf. Um, so,
okay.
um, so,
No,
so,
I am not Dirty Harry. Dirty Harry is Kenneth Davy, who came several years after I came to Howard.
oh, that's your younger brother.
Younger brother who went to Excelsior and
Okay.
played for Howard.
Oh, so this person is thinking that it is so
Dirty
you're
Harry.
clean, Harry. Just
Dirty
kidding.
Harry.
Yeah. Wondered if you are clean, Harry. What did they call you?
They
Did
call
they,
me.
yeah, did they have a nickname? Your brother was Dirty Harry. Were you clean, Harry?
You know what? When I went to, and somebody never might come in with this. When I went to Cuba, I was I was always nutrition and health conscious. So in Cuba, when the other guys were drinking sodas and stuff, I asked for milk. And the Spanish word for milk is leche. So they started calling me leche. And
Okay.
then one guy said, "You're leche because the girls think you're lecherous." But it's just because I love milk. I love girls too, but it's just because I love milk.
Somebody saying that you like to milk the girls, but we won't get into that right now. But Lulu says, Michael, what was the root of your motivation that drove you so hard to excel on the pitch and the classroom? What was your biggest motivation?
Um, Growing up, I had an older brother. He was 2 years older. He also went to St. George's. And then I had Richard. Richard is 15 months younger. And then Kenneth is another year or so younger. And so initially we played in the yard, destroyed my mother's lawn, right? And those games were very fierce, very competitive. And then we would branch out. We weren't allowed even down to the gate, but we would eventually branch out and go to the nearest park. And my older brother, Glenford, he's 2 years older. So when we went to the park, his friends, who are sometimes even older than him, would be there. And there's no age group distinction or division. Everybody at the park gets picked and everybody plays. So we were playing, we meaning myself, Richard, Kenneth, we were playing at a very young age against players 2 years older, my brother, and even 4 years older. And that made us very competitive in that when we went to our age groups, it was like, folks were asking for a birth certificate and all that stuff. I said, there's no way this guy should be playing under 16 or under 17. So that competitive nature was built from just growing up, the typical Jamaican neighborhood where you want to be the fastest guy on the street, then the fastest guy on that entire block, then the fastest guy in the neighborhood. And yeah, you might be faster, but you can't get around me and score. So the competition goes from just mere straight ahead running to football and playing football. And of course, you can imagine how competitive it was coming out in Alpha Primary. Alpha Primary with Alan Skill Cole, Kenneth Bob Campbell, Winston Campbell Santos, Norman Gutter Thompson. Every single day, morning, noon, and night, we're playing, and we didn't need a coach. You know something. I have gone to a lot of coaching certification classes, and I've done a lot of coaching, tremendous amount of coaching with championship team. And let me tell you, Omar, coaches take themselves way too seriously. The best teacher of the game is playing the game itself. Players out there playing the game, and of course, you need a little guidance so that if you see bad habits creeping into somebody's game, you kind of correct it. But to get back to that question, it's just the competitive nature. There's a Jamaican fighting spirit that is born of the inner city. Unfortunately, some of that fighting spirit is channeled to less than positive things. More and more, I look at the murder rate and that competitive
Can you
nature.
adjust?
You know.
Sorry, hold on, Mr. D. You need to adjust it. I don't. It seems like the phone is moving.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
go
Yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that latent Jamaican legacy to want to be number one in whatever you do. And sport is a nation builder. And so the more kids we can have competing in sport, rather than competing to see who has the loudest gun, who can shoot the straightest. Unfortunately, we have you know we have instances in the ghetto where those types of activities are talked about and lauded and praised more than someone scoring 3 or 4 goals in a game.
All right. So I'm going to take some more comments and then we're going to segue into, just some of the things that you are doing, what you're
Okay.
trying to do, and what what you have done in terms
Okay.
of,
Okay.
imparting some of this knowledge and, and using the opportunity given to you to kind of help other Jamaicans over the years and stuff. So let me just take some comments. Paul Weatherly, who also went to Howard along with his brother Dean Weatherly, and
Weatherman, yeah.
yeah, so he knows your brother because he said Dirty Harry is an accomplished mechanical engineer. That's
No, I am the engineer.
I think right. I think I don't know, but he seemed to be mixing it up. But then Brain Drain, the Calabar man, says that you and I are rivaling for most books on the shelf. I think he's looking at your bookshelf here and looking
It's a delicious.
yeah. So he said that you and I are having some competition, and then um this is Karik O1 says, big up Mikey, it's great to see you. And he says Maulers for life.
Marlas, yeah.
Then Mpenna says, great interview, Coach Mike. Much love and respect. And then it says sidekicks.
Sidekicks respect. Hey, let me branch. So
Yes,
that
right.
that kid, the sidekicks, that's a kid that I coached in 1995 to a state championship.
Yeah,
And
you come up too close to the camera again.
oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that kid, Mike Pena, I really respect that youngster. So I coached him and a bunch of kids to a state championship back in 1995. One of my first title as a coach, and we kind of lost
What team?
uh the Wells Branch Sidekicks. This is the youth soccer program that I developed. And this was the under 16. This was the under 16 team, the under 16 sidekicks, winning the capital area of Texas tournament championship in 1995 fall.
Which state?
Texas.
Okay, right. Because you
Texas.
did say.
So Omar, real quickly, so I coached that team, kind of lost touch over the years. And then a few weeks ago, Mike and some of the members of the team, they tracked me down. They got my address, left a message on the door. I wasn't home. And I set up a chat group and we've been talking and planning to get together.
Okay, awesome. All right. What have you what I mean, given what you have experienced, I mean, because you have coached, you have led academies, started stuff like that. How have you helped other Jamaicans to be exposed to the opportunity that you had? Or how are you planning on doing that? Or what
Okay.
are you doing now? Or what would you like to do to use sport as a vehicle for social change?
Okay. So part of what you're doing here as a production is something that I want to become more and more engaged in. Um, just telling stories in addition to starting youth soccer programs in Jamaica, right? In addition to starting youth soccer programs in Jamaica, I would love to also you know, create a situation where the the Jamaican government recognizes that um, the players that are awarded scholarship by US universities, those US universities are the ones who pay the tuition, pay for room and board, pay for books, pay for food or what have you. And I've done some calculations, at least for Howard, to the tune of over the years, Howard University has spent maybe $2.4 million US dollars in terms of developing and awarding scholarships. And a large number of those scholarships, I have called up and talked to players, talked to the coach. When the players first come to the United States, they would stay at my apartment. This is back in the 70s, 80s. They would stay at my apartment, try out for the team, and then make the team. So those kids may or could have, without that expenditure of funds back at Howard, right? They would not have certainly gotten that education. They may have not pursued a positive way out of their youth, as they progress out of their youth. And so these universities are already doing a lot. And I'm supporting that by not only donating monthly to Howard University, but in close contact with the Howard University coach. Now, one of the things I've invited the coach to do is, back in my days, a lot of professional leagues across the world were not really allowing African Americans to play in their leagues, in the 60s, 70s. And so now it's very difficult for universities to get the top high school players from Jamaica because they all want to try out for a pro team. And I think as soon as they try out or if they have an agent or what have you, then I think they forfeit their collegiate eligibility. So my impression is I am engaging coaches here to enlist me when they're going on recruiting trips, travel to Jamaica. We will talk to the best players. Say, for example, a few years ago, Alex Marshall, he is thinking about trying out for the pros, right? But if I could convince him to give 1 year or 2 year at Howard University, he would have started his collegiate career. He would have parlayed or exhibited his skills in front of MLS coaches in the United States and even foreign coaches who watch the college soccer. And he would get that exposure for a year or two, and then he could turn pro and continue his education in the summer. But he would have at least allowed Howard to maybe win another championship, and he gets exposed, and everybody comes out on top. You know, instead, some coaches when they go to Jamaica, they don't realize they're getting the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth tier player, which is not to badmouth players, but they're not getting the top 5, 6, or 7 players because they want those players to commit to 4 years. You're not gonna get Alex Marshall or that guy Fletcher or Tyreek McGee. You're not gonna get those players to commit to 4 years of college. You can get them for a year or two. They help you win a championship. You help them get exposed. Win-win situation. They start their education. and during the breaks from their pro career, they go back and finish their education.
What about all the other Jamaicans though who are playing in the states? Because we have more uh Jamaicans having kids in the United States. I mean, I know they have the college combined, but
Yeah.
I mean, given, like I said, some of the things you have done, have you ever been involved in that process to see how many of these kids who can get you not just who play in Jamaica in the high school system, but play in the United States in the high school system, but they have Jamaican parents, how you can get them into like a Howard? Because like I would love to know, like, when was the last time that you did some work to get like a Jamaican into Howard University?
Okay, so in my coaching career here in Texas, it's very difficult to get a kid here to commit to Howard, which is like thousands of miles away. But I've gotten, for example, Kyle Nelson. His mother is Jamaican born, and she ran in the Olympics for Canada. And Kyle Nelson, he was born in the US, Jamaican parent. He was in my program. I nurtured him. He got a full scholarship to Woodford College, a Division I school. He had an outstanding 4-year career, and now he's playing professionally for the Charleston Battery in the USL.
Kyle,
And
Kyle Nelson.
Kyle, yeah, Kyle Nelson. Yeah.
Okay.
When you get a chance, you Google it, Kyle Nelson.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm just thinking because I mean, and he plays at Charleston Battery in the
Charleston Battery.
yeah.
No, I was Kyle's first coach. His first season in soccer, I was his coach and coached him for several years until he got into high school and got his college scholarship. Now, a few years ago, Donovan Ducky or Dennis
Yep.
Ducky,
Donovan Ducky.
Donovan Ducky came on a recruiting trip, and I sort of coordinated with Carl Brown and Ducky and brought Kyle Nelson and also my son, Brandon Davy, who plays for the Round Rock Express. I brought those guys and
Round,
tremendous
what's
players.
the name? What the name of that team? Round Rock Express.
Round Rock Express, the Round Rock Express.
That okay.
That's they're in a league. They're in the league just below the USL.
Okay. Okay.
Is the NSL. So I brought those two players. Ducky was impressed, used them a lot, and then I just didn't hear from Ducky. And the next thing I know, that's the under 23, the under 23 team. The next thing I know, Omar, we were being eliminated by St. Kitts and at home. And I'm saying I didn't even know St. Kitts had a soccer team.
I don't want my Kitishans to hear that and have a problem with those comments.
Yeah.
Especially. But let me Lulu is saying, Mike, didn't you work with Winthrop Graham and Raymond Stewart as well, helping track athletes?
Yes. So Winthrop Graham, you're aware of, right?
Yeah, yeah,
World
yeah,
class Olympic 400-meter
yeah, man, I
medalist.
know Winthrop. Yeah.
Yeah, Raymond Stewart, world class sprinter. So Raymond lives in the Dallas Fort Worth area. So when I was there, Raymond and I actually started a varsity college program at the University of Texas at Arlington. And Raymond, who is a decent soccer player, he would help me with the technical workout and this some stamina work and sprints and what have you. And then when I came down here to Austin, Winthrop Graham is in the Austin area, and Winthrop would come and support my youth soccer programs. Sign up his kids and give motivational speeches and what have you. So, Omar, to be honest, my effort in channeling my soccer know-how and my caring for underserved communities has mostly benefited. I don't want to say unfortunately because it's a good thing. It has mostly benefited the kids here in Central Texas. I have not been able to encourage or get kids to gravitate towards Howard because it's so far away from Texas.
And totally understand.
Yeah,
Totally
yeah.
understand. Paul Weatherly says most of the top schoolboy footballers in Jamaica do not have the academics to get into most of the D1 schools, or they are not academically inclined. So, is there any plans to kind of tackle this situation uh, from Jamaica, from the early ages, like a spot of talent at 12, probably coming through, like you said, your father was an orphan at the Alpha Boys Home,
Yeah.
boys school, right? Yeah, some
Yes.
of these kids are coming from inner city communities, and they may not have all the necessities to matriculate into highly academic um kids. And so what they may need is intervention from age 12 to get them up to the stage because they have the talent. So when they reach 17, they are not only good at sport, but academically, they are up there as well so that they can now get into the D1 schools.
Very good point, and thanks for a very difficult discussion topic, Weatherman.
Okay.
But in all seriousness, that's a very good point because not every human being is going to be inclined or possibly you know be able to be guided through a lot of book type learning, academic type learning. Not every human being is guided by that. Now, I should mention the Alpha Boy School, Alpha Reformatory School again. They used to, for example, my father was taught printing, book binding. There was a metal workshop. There was a wood workshop. There was a garden where agricultural science was rudimentarily, introduced to the youngsters. There was a dairy farm at Halfa. There was also a tile making factory. So those are vocational pursuits that better fit some of our kids. Like Dean Weather said, um, you know, for some reason, I was maybe gifted or talented, and I sprinted through high school in Jamaica at 15, with math, physics, chemistry, advanced math, calculus, coordinate geometry. Not every kid is going to be that, gifted, talented, or that inclined. But the different vocations I mentioned, Omar, um, in these days, printing is not really that much vocational in terms of, in those days, it was typesetting. A kid had to set each individual letter that make up a word
Yeah,
and then do the
you need to
paragraph.
adjust the phone again. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So, printing book, but metal work is always a vocation that will be worthwhile and positive. It can be welding high pressure piping in a power plant, or it can be welding burglar bars, or welding or making
Yeah, but
gates.
what I want to because if you're saying that if they can take those areas and still get from Jamaica and still get into D1 colleges because that is really the question.
Oh,
But what I want to focus on is how can we get some of these kids up to the level that they can get into the D1 colleges? Is there any plans afoot from your side? I mean, that you're seeking to work with St. George's or some other school or some other group in Jamaica to get something like that going?
let me just say this: the Division 1 schools and the academically inclined schools are very strict, straightforward academic learning. In order for a youngster in Jamaica to aspire to that, um, they would have to have shown some type of, either ability or inclination or aptitude. You do some aptitude tests at a very young age. And granted, there are some kids who blossom late, some who blossom early. So aptitude tests very early should not be sort of discriminatory in terms of kids who didn't make it at a very young age. They don't have a chance to come back. But you need to have a certain aptitude to get accepted by these schools. There's no working around it. There needs to be an aptitude for higher learning, and as young as you can be, you can expose the kids and expose their minds. But based on how their minds develop and how they're inclined, and of course, you need social programs to make sure that kids are first of all attending class every day. You know, if it's because of lack of food or meals at home, you need those social programs. But that's a tough question to answer because
Okay.
you don't want to just come in and say, "Hey, this half of the class, you did this on the aptitude test, so go down to the wood workshop and don't let me see you in the library, reading any books." You don't want to do that at too young an age. And you
Yeah.
don't want to do it where self-esteem is crushed.
Yeah.
But you do want to have some lines that funnel kids at some point, Omar, into areas where they are best suited.
All right. Let me just get to this. I think brain drain, this is his job. He said that he's artificial intelligence and all of these things. So he said that Kyle Nelson is an American soccer player who currently plays for Charleston Battery in the USL Championship. But it would say that because he didn't actually play for Jamaica, he just came out and tried. So if he had played for Jamaica, it probably would have changed brain drain. And then he's asking if you are a Cowboys or Texan or Redskins fan. That's just a trivia question right there. But yeah, but Let me ask you. Given the state of football in Jamaica, you have probably been following. I don't know how much you know about what I hear you call the Maggie, Jordan, the Fletcher name, and Alex Marshall. So you are somewhat in tune with what is happening to some extent on the local footballing scale. All right, you are
Yeah.
a coach. You have been involved in academy, develop players from the grassroots. Um, what are some of your thoughts to in terms of Jamaica's football to get it up to a level where we can consistently compete
Qualify.
at a high level, qualifying for World Cups. Even if we miss a senior one, we at least have an under 20 team that qualifies, or under 23 team can, or under 17 team. So there's not a 4 year cycle when we don't have one team on the male side and on the female side qualifying for the major championships, of course, outside of the Gold Cup. What are your thoughts in terms of what can be done, what should be done, given your expertise in this area?
Okay. Let me just say, after I finish answering your question, if you want to get into the qualifying rounds, as an engineer, I've done all the mathematical possibilities, permutations coming in. So we can talk about that later. Now, Jamaican football, you know, the JFF is tasked with a very difficult job. Okay,
All right.
extremely difficult.
Hold on a sec. Is it possible? I mean, I know you want me to give it a little because when the phone moves, it messes up. Like,
Oh,
yeah, and there's a lot of movement. So I
I'm
don't know
sorry. Okay,
if you can keep it steady and
keep it
then,
steady.
yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Man, I'm sorry, my computer didn't make it. Anyway, yeah, let me try and keep it steady. So, the JFF.
All right. So you're close up. You're right up on this. You're right up on the
Okay.
screen. I don't know. How, yeah.
How is that? That's better?
Yeah, okay, you have to hold it. Okay, I wonder we need to try the computer and thing, or maybe you put one of those big books behind you at the back of it. Maybe that can work.
Hold on, let me see something.
Catch it with some with some books.
Hold on. Good idea, good idea. Let me engineer the heck out of it.
I think that's a good
You
idea.
you
It
you
was
engineered it for me.
it wasn't very difficult holding it with your hand all this
Yeah.
time. Yeah,
How is that?
that's good. There you
Yeah,
go.
you engineered it for me, Omar. Yeah. So listen. So the JFF will need a lot of funds, way more funds that they have, right? In order to do what needs to be done to get Jamaica consistently be in the run for a qualifying spot. A lot of money. They will need a lot more and of course, money will take care of this. They would need a lot more hands because you can have a few dedicated people working tirelessly, or you can have many people working just hard enough and accomplish the same things without burnout. Okay? So they need more hands, they need funding, okay? And they need to look at a word called benchmarking. Okay? A lot of what Jamaica may need to do in order to continuously be talked about as a sure qualifier out of CONCACAF, a lot of what Jamaica needs to do has been done or is being done by different countries across the globe. We need to have a group, you may call them the benchmark subcommittee within JFF. They go around and they check and see what are these countries doing. Their climate is similar to us. Their GDP is similar to us. Their population is similar to us. What are they doing? Why they qualify almost every cycle and we don't? So the solutions and the methods and the process may already exist. Okay? And without that benchmarking, going around and seeing what nations are doing, we never know. Why did Iceland, with 380,000 population, make it to the final four of European Championships?
Yeah.
Unheard of, right? We have a population of 2 million, right? I have looked at some numbers. I've looked at England, Germany, Italy, France, what have you. Total population of the nation, total number of teams at different levels. Jamaica population, total number of teams. There seems to be, and the JFF would have to look into this, there seems to be an imbalance in terms of way more teams in terms of the population of Jamaica. What does that do? It drains um, meager resources. If you have if you have 400 teams vying for sponsorship, the 200 or so companies, and I'm just throwing numbers out, right? If you have
Yeah.
400 teams vying for sponsorship from 200 companies, that's a 50% mismatch there. If you have maybe 40 teams going to 200 sponsors, the 200 sponsors can combine and 555 go to each of these teams. Now, what do you do with these teams? You have this team, and within that area, it's one team, one very good infrastructure in terms of a good practice field and a good playing field. You don't want to be practicing and ruin the same team that you play your
Right.
games on, right? You have storage capabilities. You probably have a little seating, right? But if it's consolidated, instead of say instead of 70, 80, you only have 35 total teams in maybe 3, 4 divisions. When they go and present to the corporate sponsors don't feel overloaded. It's not 10, 15 teams trying to get money, you know. So that's something that needs to be looked at. How do other countries get that? And like I said, you need funding, right? And so look at the technical aspects. And when they're done well, this won't seem strange or sound strange to him. You need to get your pool of players as early as possible, right? And Wendell should probably be working. I'm sure he is working with a lot of technical folk that's saying, hey, Wendell, under 13 from this parish, look at this kid, look at this kid, look at this kid. So we look at Jamaica, all the parishes, they feed in. We have the top under 13s as identified by a technical guy in each parish. You got under 13s, you get them playing together, you get the top 15 or 18 in a group, in a camp, and even though they're playing for their schools, find once a week or so, or once every 2 weeks, they get together in a camp, they do some things, they play with kids a little older, they have fierce competition, and they get better and better and better. And like I think I told you last week, you have in and out. You will have January 2022, you have these 15 players, right? By August 2022, maybe 3 out of that 15 have been surpassed by 3 that just didn't quite make it in January. You know, it may take a year. And so you have those in and out. And you have your 13s, your 15s, your 18s, and they're meeting and combating and playing against each other. Also, where funding comes in, those kids need to be exposed as early as possible to play outside of Jamaica. You know, teams on the FIFA ranking just a little bit ahead of us. You know, play against those teams, not too far ahead of us, where it's just a meaningless game and they're just picking the ball out the back of the net. You know, make it competitive a little bit higher, and so you keep that going 13, 15, what have you. You get to your, you know, your regular boys, your international level, and you have how much FIFA allows? 23, 24 for the final squad. And we talk about the bell curve, right? You need a little bit of youth. You need a youth infused. You always need to have 4, 5, maybe 6. And then you have 4, 5, maybe 6 veteran experience, right? You don't want 100% veterans, because after halftime, nobody will be able to make it to the field. You don't want 100% youths, because they would just get, technically outthought. And so you have your core group, maybe 23 to 29, 23 to 28. That's your core group, maybe 12 players. 12 from your core group, maybe 4, 5, 6 youngsters, 4, 5, 6 veterans. And what you do with that team is you get them together in camps playing, playing international, which is funding, and that will help Jamaica a lot,
Oh, awesome. I like that response. You're saying that, let me just go through it again. 1, money, 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 money. Number 1. Number 2, we have too many teams operating in a small space. Based on the population size, you can't have 400 teams in the country seeking out 200 businesses for funding. All right, we have to change that. If we can get it down to if we have, say, and this is just like numbers thrown out, if there's 400, let's see if we can get that down to 100. All right, and so you have 100 teams going to 200 companies. That's 2 companies per team. All right, and then get your top talent, get them consistently together once a week, every other week, working and playing, getting the opportunity to travel outside of Jamaica, playing games, keep them in the ranks and coming through the system. And those are great suggestions. Really like them, because we consistently hear these things, and we hope the powers that be, they are listening, and they will, they will take on some of these ideas. But you also, I think you said that at the end, you like to talk about how you have engineered and calculated using
the qualifying,
some mathematics and some the laws of physics, I suppose, to explain to the Jamaicans how we are going to qualify.
Okay, you're pretty sharp too. So check me on this. So we have 7 points, right? And
Yes.
we have 6 games remaining.
Yes.
4 home games, 2 away, right?
Yes, we
Right.
do.
So the 6 games. So mathematically, in the best of both worlds, we win all 6 games. We get 18 points versus 7. Maximum 25. Jamaica cannot get more than 25, right? Now, our very next look at is Panama. Can Panama get more than 25? And we say, well, Panama also have 6 games left. They have 14 points, right? If we win our 6 games, one of the victories over Panama, so they have lost one of the 6, the remaining 5. If they win those 5 threes, 15 and 14, 29. So right away, we do not control our own destiny just looking at Panama, because if we win all our remaining 6 games, we have to find a church that will have a COVID protocol allow us to go in and kneel down every time Panama play and pray that they lose.
Okay.
Right? That's Panama. Now, another scenario is, say, okay, we have 4 home games. You're supposed to protect your home turf. But say we win 2, and Mexico, we draw with Mexico, and who else we playing at home? Who else we playing at home? That is
Costa Rica, El Salvador, Honduras.
Okay, so yeah, Salvador, Honduras. We're playing Costa Rica at home. So say we tie with Costa Rica and Mexico, right? And we draw and we tie our 2 away games, right? So that will be 2 3s, 2 3 6,
That's
and
1 2 3 4
and
points.
4
That's
10,
4,
10
yeah.
and 7 is 17,
Yes.
right? Which is probably, I hate to say it, maybe the likely outcome. We win 2 home games and we draw the rest of the games. Hopefully we don't lose any. So say we get that, we get to 17. That's just 3 points above Panama, and we beat them. So they have 5 games. Within 5 games, they're gonna get 3 points or more, unless our prayers are answered, right?
So your solution is that there is no solution.
My solution is mathematically, but not in an absolute sense. Mathematically, we can qualify, right? But we need divine intervention. Even if we win all our games, even if we win all our remaining games, we need divine intervention.
Okay.
What say you?
Well, someone will say to you that the last time a Minister of National Security said that we need divine intervention, I think he lost his seat. So if that is anything to go by, I don't know. I think it's very difficult. But I think the first thing we have to do is, we have to do what we can do and leave the rest. And what is it? Seek to get. I'd prefer if we lost a game and win all. I don't think we can afford to draw. We need to go into the games to win or lose.
Right.
Listen, don't try and tie a game. Win or lose. And you just do what you can do. You put yourself in this position and you just wait. And if luck comes, then that's it. But I think it's very, 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 very difficult unless some great unforeseen things happen. I hear, for example, that the Panama team, they have several players out with COVID, so that could affect their next game. If you have some stuff like that, but again, Jamaica has to do what Jamaica has to do, which is Jamaica must win all its game, barring that, or at least win 5 and lose 1 or tie 1. Anything outside of that, we need to prepare for 2026.
2026.
Yeah, that that's just where it's at.
Yeah. It goes without saying that as a Jamaican patriot, I want them to win every game. And the idea that I say that chances are they'll tie, it's just mathematical permutation, possibilities. No, Omar, you mentioned something. Our Paul All's intent is to go and win. And when you're going to win, you're going to be looking for goals. When you're looking for goals, you're going to pay a little bit more attention to attack. When you pay a little bit more attention to attack, you're susceptible to counter attack. So I'm sure he's thinking about those
Yeah.
dynamics.
And Mexico also has 14 points, So
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Claudia,
Mexico, but Omar, between you and me, Mexico is going to qualify.
yeah.
They're going to find a way to
Well,
qualify.
the last time USA did not qualify, So you
Yes.
never know.
Yes.
Claudia says Mexico has some players out, so divine intervention is already at play. Well, let's see how the game is going to go, right?
Yeah. Hey, you know what they say, Omar? They say, Omar, the ball is round, plus we're living on Earth. Anything can happen.
Well, that is true indeed. That is true indeed. Anything can happen, but I
Anything
mean,
can happen.
yeah, man, it was a good conversation. I think sometimes it is good to hear persons who have played the sport, just excelling academically, right? Because too often, especially the sport of football, there is this idea that the people who play football, especially in our culture, it may not be the culture, but in certain nations, it is always seen that footballers are not the most intelligent, smart people out there. And uh, because the most educated people will think they would not play football, they would not do sport because they're focused on education.
Dedication.
But your story is a story that says, listen, you can do both and excel in both. And a lot more people, I think, need to hear that. Even parents, because there are parents who will almost push their kids on in the academic alone and push them out of sport because somehow they think like if you play sport, you're not going to be good academically. And we normally trade one for the other. So I hope when people hear your story, the story of Bancroft Garden and so many others in the past, the Weatherly brothers who played sport and they did well academically as well. And there are many, many more persons out there with stories like this. I think these stories need to be told, especially, and this is why I'm asking, like, how many youngsters in Jamaica? How often do you speak to kids at St. George's or other schools? What other forums do you use to really talk to kids about these things? And even parents who are saying, listen, you don't know, I am poor. I fight to send my child to school. I don't want them to play no cricket. I don't want them to play no football. No money not in it. This not in it. And if them play it, them go, I don't want my picnic to be done. So let them go to school. I mean, I think stories like yours need to be echoed, in the in the corners of and the crevices of our communities, so people can hear that if you're focused, discipline, good leadership in the home, um, and take advice, then it is possible that you can do sport and also excel academically.
Yes, Omar. You know, so I graduated St. George's 1967. And so on our 50th anniversary in 2017, we had a get together in Jamaica. And one of the things we discussed was forming a chat group. And so that chat group is still ongoing. And we are very active in the St. George's Old Boys Association, which has a mentorship program. And I've signed up and mentoring 3 present day students that currently attend St. George's.
Oh,
And, you know, I will be looking to sort of shepherd them. One of them is pretty good at football. So, of course, I'll be looking to see if I can get him into Howard, you know, in addition to taking care of his academics. So, there's also that. Um, Another thing youngsters should realize is, I'm just the son of an orphan my dad was raised in Alpha Reformatory School. So my dad didn't have any legacy or any inheritance that he passed down to us, but he passed on a lot of good values. He wanted all his kids to go to St. George's. just for the education and discipline. Now, after after um, after after college, I played a little bit of semi-professional soccer. Played in New York with Real Carib, and I also went to work. My first engineering job, I was officed on the 86th floor, Tower Number 2, World Trade Center, from 1980 to 1985. I was on the World Trade Center 86th floor. And I tell my friends all the time, if Mr. Bin Laden had gotten his idea 16 years earlier, I would have been a goner. And every year when they have the annual 9/11 memorial, a lot of my friends and family call me up and say, Mike, you're lucky that you weren't there when Bin Laden struck. You know?
Yeah. Howard Robinson is saying, I was in engineering school at Howard University
Yes,
during
big
Michael
up, Mr.
time.
Robinson. Yes,
Remember him well.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah. And then Mike M. Penna says the only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. Yeah.
Right.
That's, that's a
That's
good
right.
one. That's a good one. That's
That's
a
what
good
I taught those guys. And hey, Omar, that team, Mike Pena's team, the under 16 team, my first championship team, um, during the season,
You
um,
said championship, you're champions of Texas or of like
no, yeah,
Fort Worth or Dallas or Mansfield, Arlington.
um,
Um,
no, Texas is so large. Texas is so large physically
right. Yeah.
it's sliced in half. The state
Right.
is sliced in half, and you have North Texas and South Texas. And each of those entities have a full state championship sanctioning from the USSF, United
Right.
States Soccer Federation. So we were champions of South Texas. And during the season, um, I developed a fight song for my team. Before the game, we would jump and sing the fight song. It was by the F-Tones. The F-Tones gonna fight it to the top.
Okay. Okay. Yes, yes. All right, all right, all right. So it was for South Texas that you were the
So
state
Texas,
champ.
yeah.
Right. Where in South Texas was the team like located?
In Austin,
Austin.
the capital of Texas, Austin.
Okay. Austin.
Now Austin is 240 miles inland, right, from the nearest coast, and 120 miles
I know
west of Houston.
yeah, I know. I've been to Austin, and I mean,
Oh, you've been to
normally,
Austin, okay.
yeah, I normally go through a Hobby Airport when I'm going
Okay,
to
Houston.
Mansfield. I normally, yeah. So, yeah,
Hey, listen, at some point in the future, I would
yeah,
like to talk about the youth, how I set up the youth program, because the
yeah,
infrastructure, administration, the actual technical soccer coaching and stuff is a whole nother, information kids can really learn from.
yeah. Awesome, awesome. Well, we're on the 2 hour mark, so I want to give it the
Wow.
last couple of minutes to kind of thank all the persons who are listening, and just just conclude. You give us your final thought, and we will definitely catch up again. So go ahead, give us your final thoughts. Yeah.
Okay, my final thoughts are hopefully productions such as these continue, and hopefully they reach more and more youngsters in Jamaica in the inner city communities, and hopefully the kids will watch and listen to this rather than listen to what's being said on the corner in terms of exalting some of the things that we know are negative in the society. I would love for as many youngsters in Jamaica to watch these programs and call up the different guys like the Wendell Downswell, Mike Davis, Dion Burton. Call and contact these guys and walk along the positive, progressive pathway of life. You know.
Yeah. All right. I want to thank you again for coming on, Mr. Michael Davy. Um, Howard University standout in his time. I mean, very instructive, articulate, an engineer, very optimistic because he still harbor deep, deep sentiments that Jamaica still stand a chance. Though it may be an iota, he still believe that
And
there
I
is an
still believe the JFF with proper funding and with the proper formatting, and I can give them a lot of ideas. I still think that the JFF can do what's required to get us. They need to start looking at what are the ages of the kids that's going to make up the team in 26, in 2030. What
we
are those kids
yeah,
doing now? They're
yeah,
6, 7, 8 years old. What are we doing with these kids now? Because they're going to be representing us in 26 and 2030.
yeah, we will have you on to discuss some of that as well. But again,
Yes.
thank you to you for coming on. Thanks to everyone in the comment section for being a part of this. Again, we appreciate your time and your company. It has been an absolute, absolute, absolute pleasure. It's good to have these discussions. With I don't call it an interview; it's just conversation.
Just yeah.
It's not
Thanks for having me, Omar.
yeah,
Appreciate
it's
it.
not yeah, and we're really, really, really glad that Michael David took the time to come on to the program, and we will have him back on again to discuss things from the administrative perspective and the overall youth development program that he implemented in his time, and how we can take the transferable principles from that and look at applying them to local football for its development and improvement. Thank you.
Hey, and Omar, thanks for the tip on stabilizing my phone.
All right, wonderful. Yes, anytime. All right, so yes, so thank you so much, the people in the comment section. Listen, I ask you, please, we don't pause the video to ask you to like. So now that we have come to the end, we want to ask you that before you leave the stream, hit the like button. Let's get the likes up to as many likes as possible. Also, if you have not subscribed to I Am Sure Sports, you need to do so, and you can also hit the notification bell so that when we are doing other interviews, other good stuff, you can know that we are on and you can jump on and watch it. So go ahead and subscribe. It's very easy. You just use your thumb and press that word subscribe, and you're good to go. Also, want to say a big thank you to our sponsors, as this video is sponsored by Launch Legacy. Launch Legacy. Handle risk. Seek legacy. And so, for all your personal insurance needs in Canada and the USA, visit launchlegacy.com or call or text them at 647 989 0782. Listen, if you need good life insurance, you need some good financial products, like, believe me, this is the place, and Patrick Reed is the person to speak to. Give them a call. Get the information so you can make proper and good decisions. Also, want to thank Prestige Finance, lending a helping hand when you need it most. If you're in Jamaica and you need a loan to bail you out, to help you out, contact Prestige Finance. You can call them at 876 884 7390. 0 to 4% interest rate, same day processing, no processing fee if you tell them you are contacting them from I Am Sure Sports. Again, thank you so much. Really appreciate every single one of you. You're great, great company. So stay safe until we meet again. I'm Management. This is I Am Sure Sports. Enjoy the rest of your day.